Backing and calling, and the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Done up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive, hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the Laurent Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Line to right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Does it have a chance? The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed the no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
Nick? Not the best performance I've ever had so far tonight. Did just realize that I did not hit go live on YouTube until we hit the intro. So, hey, if you didn't get a chance to see it, you can go on X. It's live on X. You can go on X at CBOX Sports. You can watch our drama-filled 9th inning with Alexis Diaz. The glasses were on, but I want to assure everybody that we were actually live, or so we thought we were. It just happens that on YouTube, you actually have to hit the go live button in order to go live. Who would have thought? I've only done it 260 times, but this time I just didn't do it. So, at least I did it on a win. I did it on a win, because on a loss, we might have had 5 people in here. Who knows? But that's here nor there. Nick, Reds win. Rather convincing. Rather somewhat convincing, I might add. It could have been a lot worse, too. I want you to know. Score could have been a lot worse, but we'll take a 3-run win anyways. Nick, you're looking excited, by the way. I know this. I know I'm rambling a little bit here. I know this because I can see you. You can't see me, but I can see you during the little intro, and Nick was vibing a little bit. I'm just going to let you guys know.
Yeah, I was getting down. Let's go. This is a big win. Hey, look, this is a really good Boston Red Sox team. I think there were some people that kind of thought, the Red Sox, they're kind of an okay team to come into town. This is a good baseball team. I was looking through, I did the podcast this morning. Looked through this team. This team is 5th in OPS. They have some really good starting pitching. They got a really good bullpen. This team would win the NL Central. So this is a big win. Friday night, first game of the series. You got a little difficult stretch here before you do get, a little bit of a break up to the All-Star breaks. This is a big win to start off the homestand for the old Redlegs.
It is a big win because it makes sure that we don't continue to find ways to have streaks and losing streaks, obviously, I might add, because it felt like that we built up this unbelievable positive momentum really quickly. We found ourselves right back in the thick of everything, and we even said to each other live on this show, like, I can't believe it happened this fast. Like, maybe we'd fight to get close to 500 by, again, like, All-Star break-ish, maybe a little bit beyond the All-Star break-ish. And then you get Nuelve back, obviously, here soon, and you can kind of scratch and claw your way. No, they did it pretty much almost a week ago, and unfortunately, they just weren't able to win any series, and it kind of started to what felt like might snowball. And today, although it's not a must-win, Nick, it did feel like a win in which if they didn't get this one, you start to lose. You're starting to feel like you lose a little bit of hope. I don't care if you're the most optimistic person in the world. You kind of feel like all the ground you gained, you'd have done lost. Tonight, big win. I'm glad they got it. And we got plenty to talk about, and we're going to do it. And as we always do, we'll do the box score recap. Presented by Nick Kirby.
All right, let's get into it. All right, Reds taking on the Boston Red Sox. Red Sox come into town winners of 5 in a row. Andrew Abbott threw a scoreless top of the first. And then Jeimer Candelario welcomed Kutter Crawford to Great American Ballpark with a rocket hit 107.6 off the bat into the Sun Moon deck, 1-0 Reds. Red Sox responded in the top of the second. Sox catcher Connor Wong took Abbott deep to left center field for a solo shot, tied the game up at 1. In the bottom of the second, Reds came right back. Jonathan India hit a ball 370 feet to left field for a solo home run, 2-1 Reds. And then in the top of the third, started to feel like it was going to be one of those nights at Great American Ballpark. The hot-hitting Jaron Duran hit a 401-foot home run to right field, tied the game up at 2. But then in the bottom of the third, that Jeimer Candelario fella did it again. He hit his second multi-home run game in June. This home run 410 feet to right field, 3-2 Reds. And then Andrew Abbott, he really settled in. He retired 10 of his final 12 batters that he faced. He left with a 3-2 lead in the 6th. 2 outs, runner on second base. Fernando Cruz came in to face Connor Wong. Wong almost hit a 2-run home run down the left field line, but it ended up going foul. Cruz rebounded and struck out Wong to end the inning. Andrew Abbott's final line, 5 2/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 runs, just 1 walk, and 10 strikeouts. Sam Moll threw a perfect 7th inning. And then Kutter Crawford came back out in the bottom of the 7th. He had retired 10 straight Reds batters and was only at 77 pitches. Santiago Espinal led off the inning by reaching on an error. And then with 1 out, Luke Maile doubled down the right field line to put runners on the corners and chase Crawford. TJ Friedel then laid down a squeeze bunt. The Red Sox pitcher Cam Boozer tried a glove flip home. It went way over the catcher's head. Espinal scored, and Luke Maile came trucking around third base and scored also, 5-2 Reds. Nick Martinez would throw a scoreless 8th. Reds did make 2 outs on the bases in the bottom of the 8th, but it didn't matter because Alexis Diaz is back. Alexis Diaz notched his 17th save of the year. He's now 17 for 19 in save opportunities this season. Reds win. Reds improved to 36-39 on the season.
All right, we have a deep drive of the day, and who else would it be sponsored by other than DSC? Jeimer Candelario. I don't know which one you want. Maybe you want them both. I'll give them both to you. He hit his 14th home run, but he also hit his 13th home run in the same game. It is his second time this season of a multi-home run game. First inning, 107 off the bat, 373 feet. Third inning, 104.5 off the bat, 410 feet. That is a bomb. That is a deep drive of the day. And who is it sponsored by? DSC, and they are a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. And thank you, as always, to John and his team. I love the chat. I love the chat. And you know what? They'll remind you if you say something that they don't agree with. They might not tell you in real time, but after the fact, once somebody converts or does something good, they will let you know. I was very much pessimistic of Alexis Diaz. Yes, I was. And I still hold a little semblance, just so we all know, of doubt in my mind of said Alexis Diaz. However, I will say, ever since that rant, he's looks excellent. So for that, I say, Will Benson, this guy, he needs to get sent to Chattanooga, okay? I can't stand another. If I have to watch Will Benson play baseball again, I'm not going to be able to handle myself. We need to get this guy as far away from Cincinnati as humanly possible. Now, hopefully, that does the trick. That's what I need to have happen. So we'll see if it happens or not. But if you need me to be the fall man, I'll be the fall man, okay? I have absolutely no pride when it comes to being wrong. If you want me to be wrong so you can be right and we all win together, by God, I am your man, okay? You tell me who to slander and I'll slander him damn well. In fact, you know who needs some help? Barry Larkin needs some help, okay? I love this guy, played unbelievable shortstop. But if he tells me one more time that there's a rally killer with the bases loaded and a guy hits a grand slam when you're already up by a run in the game, I am going to lose my mind. You can't possibly say that in a microphone and think that people are going to actually think that that's somewhat competent. You can't possibly do that. And I'm like, did he say that? He said that. And then the next thing, I know I'm going on a little bit of a rant here. And then the next thing, 2 innings later, I hear, what do I hear? I seen him in spring training. Talking about the Wins guy, the backup catcher. He looked pretty good. Don't know what he's doing in AAA. You know, Barry, there's this thing called Baseball Reference. You can pull it up on the fly, brother man. Just look it up. You don't have to tell us that you don't know what this guy's done. That's just a, kind of a side conversation maybe we could have at a later date with Barry. But who knows? Everything else, fantastic. Andrew Abbott, fantastic. We'll get to him later. But first, we're going to talk about the Candyman. Because why? Because the Candyman can, Nick.
The only person that needs DFA'd is the Zips guy that attacked the Red signing of Jeimer Candelario because he could not have been any more wrong. 14 home runs. 14 home runs from Jeimer Candelario. Jeimer Candelario was the power hitter we needed. We thought we needed a power hitter. We were worried about it all April. We were worried about it halfway through May. And guess what? We had him. He's Jeimer Candelario. He's the Reds power hitter. 14 home runs. We're only on June 21st. This guy might end up with 30.
I hope so. I know this. If you'd have told me he had 14 home runs a month and a half ago, I would have asked you when at the end of his Reds career, because it felt like that was the path we were headed on. But you know what? Sometimes, like I said, some guys just don't like the cold weather, Nick. They don't like the cold weather. It needs to warm up a little bit. And it's warmed up, and there he is, the Mr. Candelario. I also was wondering, maybe I'm seeing things. It still looks like he's kind of like a little gimpy. Like, I'm serious. I'm being semi-serious.
Yeah, no.
I know I've joked a lot on this show, but it kind of looks like when he was running around the bases, like he kind of didn't look, I don't know, maybe he's got a weird jog, but it didn't look, I don't know. Or maybe he's feeling himself a little bit. Maybe he's got a little bit of a, I don't know. They called it a pimp limp in my day. I don't know what it's called anymore.
Yeah, maybe he's just selling a little bit. Yeah. I'm red hot, and I'm a little hurt too. I'm a little banged up. Look at what I'm doing. But no, what a turnaround. OPS now up to 816. It was 663 1 month ago today. 1 month ago. That's an incredible month of baseball from Jeimer Candelario. And this is everything you possibly could have dreamed when you signed Jeimer Candelario. On June 21st, this is just about the best case scenario of what you would expect out of Jeimer Candelario. Yeah. Maybe offensively. maybe I would want it a little more on the defensive side of third base, but whatever. He's going to be moving over to first base here next Friday or next Thursday because Noel V. Marte's back, baby.
Yeah, and you know what? And to round it out, I'm still not done with Barry Larkin. You remember that ball that Spencer Steer hit? Do you remember that ball? You just mentioned it. Do you remember that ball that went down the line? First of all, I thought Steer should have made the play. I know it's a tough play, but I'd like my first baseman to make that play. And Barry's out here talking about how it's a great play, and he stopped it from being a double. And my man Jake Fraley is literally right behind him. But I digress. Okay. I promise for the rest of this show, if you're just now tuning in, I promise I won't say anything anymore about Barry Larkin in the broadcast tonight. But I just had to bring that up. It just popped in my brain. I need to get it all out.
I have one nice thing to say about Barry Larkin.
Great
I'd
shortstop.
much rather have him up in the booth than in the dugout. So if keeping him up in the booth keeps him out of the dugout and we have to bear through it, trust me, I think he should be at the Holy Grail against anything than Barry Larkin being a big league manager. And I've been that. If there's one thing I've been right on in life, it is that I was on that from day one. Really, because of some of the stuff he said back when he worked for ESPN, I was just like, it's so wild to me that this guy is the greatest Reds player that I've ever saw in my lifetime. And that's what you get in the booth. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so bad though. It's so bad. It's so bad. I'll tell you, there's nobody that's been a bigger benefactor to Barry Larkin than Chris Welsh. Tell you right now, Chris Welsh, you might as well call him Vin Scully when he gets back in there.
Stock.
Speaking of stock, Andrew Abbott stock's going up. This is a guy that quite frankly, if we're being honest, during spring training, he was, if Brandon Williamson was healthy, he was one of the guys to have a conversation around whether or not he deserved a spot in the starting rotation. Clearly he does. And he's continued to look like the guy that he looked like for the most of last year. Obviously, he kind of ran out of steam. We've documented that in well detail. But it threw strikes tonight. And the biggest thing is, like, he got so many swing and misses, Nick. Like, I know you didn't see his whole start, but it was one of those things where it's like, it felt like he was in command, and he also was the benefactor, I will admit, of a couple of calls in the inning in which Ellie, the same inning, I should say, that you know, I guess Ellie got a bad call. At the top of that inning, I thought he was the benefactor of a few. But at the same time, he wasn't all over the place. I think when you're not all over the place as a pitcher, you get some respect from the umpire. Now, that umpire, I don't know if he had a plan tonight, but if he did, he might want to get rid of that one and start with a new one. But he threw the ball incredibly well, and he was a stop guy. You know, he was our lefties now, Lodolo and Abbott. When we needed them to get a stop and win, they did it. They found a way. Now, Hunter Green did too, but our offense was abysmal. So that's a story for another day.
Yeah, Abbott came in. I don't want to say he'd been pitching like terribly because I don't think he was that bad. But his last two starts, he walked 7 batters. And tonight, if he would have walked 3 or 4 batters, it probably would have really bit him because the ball was flying out of the ballpark. He gave up 2 home runs. So today was just an incredible start from Andrew Abbott. Only 4 hard hit balls allowed. I can't believe Andrew Abbott struck out 10 batters and against a top 5 offense. I know people look at this Boston Red Sox team, and most everyone that's watching this show, you're a National League fan. You don't know who half these guys are. This is a really, really good team. I mean, look at their stats. Look up and down their lineup. And it's not like they had guys that crushed it in April. Like Duran, O'Neill, Devers, Wong, Valdez, all those guys came in with like OPSs of near 1,000 in the month of June. And for them to come into this ballpark, Great America Ballpark, and for Andrew Abbott to put that kind of performance tonight, just an incredible performance from Andrew Abbott. Yeah, I mean, he's really, I was a doubter of Andrew Abbott, and he's shut me the hell up. That's for sure.
Well, there's still time. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and get too overly kind of optimistic about anybody. I think that's the main thing at this point that we all should have learned, if anything, about Candelario and Will Benson is like, and Spencer Steer, honestly, is like, you gotta remind yourself this is a long season. You're gonna have ebbs and flows. You gotta try to tame a little bit of the Jekyll and Hyde though. Like, and I don't know if that's just because these guys are young, Nick, or maybe it's just because they're not good. I'm trying to be nice. I don't mean to say like they're not good players, but like maybe they're just not good enough to be consistent, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And Benson and Steer and you know, for all due respect, I guess, Espinal's played well of late too. He's kind of come up. So we've had a couple guys on the rise now, and we got some guys down on the down slopes. It would be nice to have a team, though, that was a little more consistent, if we're being completely honest. And I will say the starting pitching has been that, and the bullpen has been that. And speaking of the bullpen, they did their job again. I have a hard time saying what I guess the bigger strength of this team is the bullpen that we have, or is it the starting pitching? Now, starting pitching seems to be the obvious answer, but it feels like you're giving some disrespect to the bullpen if that's not the answer. No,
I think it's the starting pitching. I think it's pretty clear cut, the starting pitching. It's mainly just because of the top two, and Abbott can certainly push his way close to that. But what Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo have done this year is far and above anything else on this Reds team. Now, what I will say about the Reds offense, yes, it's been inconsistent, but I really push back a little bit on that, because I think if you asked 25 teams fan bases, you would get that they would tell you our
Maybe so.
team is incredibly inconsistent. I just think we have to adjust ourselves, because I feel it too. I'm not how you're saying I watch it and I'm like, oh man, this offense, man, I feel great, baby. But you have to look at the actual numbers across baseball. Like, batting average is so far down from what it was when me and you were teenagers watching baseball. It's not the same sport, so it's going to feel a lot different as we watch it now versus 20 years ago. So again, I don't think this offense is great by any stretch, but I don't think it's this abysmal, terrible, completely inconsistent offense. I think there's a lot of those teams across baseball, especially almost every one of the teams that the Reds are fighting for a wild card spot. They're all in that same boat.
I agree. I actually have something I want to add or discuss about the offense, and it's kind of it goes hand in hand with tonight's game. But before we do that, do you have anything to add on the Reds bullpen before we move to the second half of the show?
Yeah, look, well, first off, Alexis Diaz. Look, I'm not here to say Alexis Diaz doesn't worry me. I with everyone on that. But again, I mean, he keeps converting in saves. Now, is it going to burn down him at some point?
Well, let me also say, inevitably, we all have to be fair to Alexis. He's going to blow a save. That's going to happen. I'm just saying that I was worried about it just completely falling apart, to be very clear.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
And I was too, but I didn't think it was as bad as it was, and I didn't think that it was a clear cut. You have to remove him from closer, and I hope that he's at least submitted himself on that. The other thing is, I feel like we have. I'm as guilty of this as anyone. We have kind of glossed over what Sam Moll has done. Sam Moll, since he's been in a Reds uniform, 41 innings, 5 earned runs allowed. That's a 1.10 ERA. That's incredible. And this guy just keeps getting it done. He's not flashy. He doesn't have the big fastball. He doesn't have the Fernando Cruz splitter, but the results are there. And man, he is an incredible weapon for this team. We should probably talk about Sam Moll as maybe the Reds' second best reliever behind Fernando Cruz.
I agree. For those that are wondering what Joe Boyle is doing, he's not doing a whole lot. So it's kind of worked out so far.
Was that move at the deadline last year?
Yep, that was the move at the deadline. I'm trying to do this on the fly, so it's hard for me to look up what his splits are this season, but it does appear that he's in AAA right now. He didn't even make the big league club this year. It's tough. So
he's such a. I mean, he's honestly Connor Phillips is probably almost in the same boat at this point. But he's such a lottery ticket. If Joe Boyle comes out next year and wins a Cy Young, I would tip my cap and say,
right.
Yep, he figured it out. But there's a 10% probability of that happening. He's either going to be the best pitcher on the planet, or he's going to have no success in no success in Major League Baseball. I don't think there's anything in between with him.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair to him, he has obviously electric stuff. He's thrown 9 innings this year though, so I don't know if he got hurt or what. I don't know. It's hard for us to look this up on the fly, but maybe we'll kind of keep an eye out for that. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. I guess Mole's a guy that looks like he'd be at, Kings Island guessing your age or weight. He doesn't. There's really nothing about him that looks like all that enticing. To be honest, there's nothing flashy there. I know it sounds dumb, but I honestly think you could take Sam Mole and stick him at a Florence Y'all's game and let him throw like 3 relief outings and then go to everybody in the crowd and be like, hey, tonight, can you guess which guy plays for the Cincinnati Reds? And I don't know if they would guess him, to be honest. Now, he probably would go a 1-2-3, maybe with a couple strikeouts, but again, it just doesn't look the part, is what I'm getting after. So I think that's part of it, Nick. I really do. And I also think that's why Ellie, without question, might get unfair criticism at times, because he does look the part, and he doesn't look his age more times than not. I have something to add about the Reds offense, but before I do, I am actually going to the game tomorrow. I'm going to the game tomorrow. Got invited to go, and you unfortunately weren't able to make it, which is okay, A-okay. But I got an opportunity. This is what you call big league tie-in. Very. But so here's the deal. 988. I am going meeting with Tony tomorrow. He was gracious enough to lend an opportunity for me and you to go. You're not able to make it, so fortunately, I think my wife is going to join me, so I don't go by myself and sit by myself. But I get to go to the game, and you know what I was thinking is that if you're going to go to the game and you want to go to the game and see maybe myself, or maybe you want to see the Cincinnati Reds, probably the Reds. I don't know why you'd want to see me, but if you do, I'll do my best to message anybody back that might be going tomorrow. And if they're not going to go, or you want to go, where should they go, Nick?
Well, I think you should use the Game Time app, because the Game Time app is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball. That makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app, they actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. Killer last-minute deals, all-in pricing, views from your seat, and the lowest price guaranteed. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. They have all-in pricing. You can toggle this feature, and it shows you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Cincy for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code Cincy, C-I-N-C-Y, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Love that. Fantastic job. As always, 988, if you need it, text, call. Life is better with you with us, and mantherapy.org if that's a need. All right, folks. You have small ball on the rundown. I think it's just putting. I'll tell you one thing that doesn't get accounted for when you play small ball, and when you bunt guys over, or obviously tonight when you do a kind of a safety squeeze situation, or a suicide squeeze, I guess, whichever term it was. I didn't get a chance to totally see if it was a safety or suicide. I kind of seen it as I was kind of coming downstairs to get set up. But I will admit, I think that what gets overlooked more times than not is the routine play in and of itself, Nick. It puts pressure on the defense to actually have to make the play. And although sometimes it looks very, very elementary, sometimes they don't make the play. And if you're not able to make the play, then you can see what happens tonight. They make an error. It leads to not only one run, but it leads to another run. And it turns out to be a pretty big play in this game, because otherwise it would have been a dicey ninth inning. Not because Alexis isn't good or anything like that, but when it's a one-run game, it inevitably is much, much more difficult to save. We all know that. So I don't know if you have anything that you want to add to that whole situation. Did you get a chance to see it well?
Yeah, it was one of those that was kind of like in between a suicide and a safety. Like, I thought Espinal did take off right when it was, but I think it was more because it wasn't the best bunt in the world. It wasn't a terrible bunt, but it wasn't great. But yeah, I think that's the one thing that the sabermetrics community gets so wrong, because we understand, and I think almost everyone's evolved to the point where we understand bunting, sacrificing a runner over in the fifth inning in a tie game is bad baseball. But bunting in that kind of spot, that's good baseball, especially with the third baseman. Rafael Devers is one of the worst defensive third basemen in the sport. Now, the bunt went to the pitcher, right, but I assume Friedel probably, in his head is thinking, hey, let's make Rafael Devers at third base make a play. I mean, this guy last year, -9 outs above average, really throughout his career. He's not been very good. So you put some pressure on him, and yeah, you put pressure on him, and that kind of stuff can happen. And that is definitely something that I don't think gets enough consideration when you talk about this bunting, especially when you have fast runners, and it's just utilizing your team. And like TJ Friedel, his ability to lay down a bunt, his ability to beat out a bunt. And yeah, how about Luke Maile trucking all the way around too?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
he had to be running really hard out of the box to score there. I didn't see it, but
right. I the good news is right now they're running highlights. I'm trying to see if I can see this in real time as we speak. But I mean, more or less, you're right. Yeah, as soon as the play happened, he obviously had to be running full go, and then the play was right in front of him, so he got a chance to see it. And I mean, Candelario is just hitting nukes everywhere right now, so there's that. But unfortunately, I don't know if they're going to show it. But long story short, my main conversation around this is like, I do think we've talked about this before on the show. Like, I do think that there is a place still for laying down sacrifice bunts and safety squeezes, because you just got to know your personnel, Nick. Like, you can't do it with anybody and everybody, but if you have a guy up there that's very comfortable with the bat in his hand, and they're able to kind of be able to specifically lay down a bunt in certain locations, then it becomes very lethal. And we've seen it earlier this year where, again, I think they were laying down a sacrifice bunt and they airmailed one down the right field line. The next thing you know, you got a rally. That's a rally starter, believe it or not. Not a rally killer. But point is, and having said all that, is like, I'm just glad the Reds utilize it, because I think that there's some teams that kind of jump behind the 8-ball of the analytics sometimes and just say, statistically speaking, if we lay this bunt down and we get out like we're supposed to, it's going to take us down 2%. You know what I'm saying? And that's a real thing. And there's real clubs that do that. And I don't fully believe in it. So there is that. Yeah. Shout out to Luke Maile for the double too, by the way.
He's played pretty well. I mean, he's had so limited opportunities, mainly just because of how great Tyler Stevenson has played. But in his few opportunities over the last month, I don't have his stats in front of me, but I thought he was hitting like 300. I think it was like 3 for 10 or something. But yeah, he swung the bat well. I feel like early in the year he had a little bit of uncharacteristically some struggles defensively at times. I didn't see any of that tonight. Didn't see any of that his last couple starts, unless I'm forgetting something.
There was one pitch there was one situation where I think it was the same inning that Steer wasn't able to make the play. Maile kind of, I don't know. It almost seemed like they got mixed up on a pitch because it was such an easy pitch to catch that it just feels like I don't see Luke Maile dropping that, but that's here nor there. So, I mean, listen, when the Reds win, man, it's a lot easier to overlook a lot of these things. Like, I'll fully admit that. I did just see the bunt. It was a poor bunt. I think it was safety. I do. I also find it hilarious. Like, if we can have like a little bit of a chuckle with Espinal's slide into home, like he just got stuck. You see that? Like there's no doubt that he was attempting to slide head first and have a little bit more of a slide. I think he just stuck right in the ground. It was definitely not suicide because it took him way too long to get to the plate. Based off of, they didn't show the all 9 angle, Nick, so I can't 100% say with certainty, but the amount of time it took Espinal to get to the plate after that bunt, it couldn't have been a suicide. So there is that. All right, Ellie strike zone. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'll tell you what, it made the rundown. Now, I want to openly admit, okay? I want to openly admit as a Reds fan that I do try to pay attention to the other team when they get bad calls called against them. This poor guy, and I don't, name escaping me right now off the top of my head, but this poor guy he strikes out, at that point, I think he strikes out Will Benson. They call it a ball. Will Benson walks. He strikes out Luke Maile. They call it a ball. Luke Maile walks. He throws a pitch in the dirt that like maybe grazed the foot. But anyway, they called it a hit by pitch in real time, so you can't challenge it because it's way too close. You're not going to win that challenge. So now the bases are loaded after, quite frankly, 2 strikeouts and a maybe hit by pitch. And Ellie obviously finds himself in a position where he gets a bad call. Now, I think you're going to take this in a different direction, but I just want to openly say that as a Reds fan and a Reds podcast, I'm well aware of the things that led to the bad strike call on Elly De La Cruz. And I'm not saying it's fair to Elly, but it kind of seemed like ball don't lie in the whole grand scheme of things.
Yeah, look, the Reds didn't get a bad strike zone overall, but I do feel like Elly De La Cruz continues to get a very poor strike zone low. He didn't get the same call that Luke Maile gets. And I know our guy Reds in 4 was kind of first on this, and he posted something the other day kind of actually detailing some actual statistical data on this. But yeah, I mean, he's not getting a good strike zone at all. It's because of, I think, his body frame and the fact that he's tall, and his strike zone looks a lot different than everyone else. But when the ABS comes, even if it's just the ABS challenge, he's going to benefit from that. I know when I talked with Jacob Hurtubise, he talked about how he credited the ABS as a reason for his success last year in getting on base. So I think that's going to be a really big deal for Elly De La Cruz when it comes. That's really the only reason I put it on the rundown. Reds did not get screwed today. I'm not saying that, but I do think Elly De La Cruz is, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of teams that have a particular player that is the least gets punished the most because of their body frame on this, and it just feels like it's Elly De La Cruz.
I think that Elly certainly gets the short end of the stick with a lot of these calls, and I think it's mostly because of how tall he is. Mostly, I also think that you do earn some street cred, if you want to call it that, around the league in regards to who has favorable eyes and who doesn't. Now, I'm not saying Joey Votto's never had bad calls on him before, but, I think that if Joey Votto's up and it's a borderline pitch, you're probably more prone to calling it a ball than a strike. I know that the umpires would never admit to that, but that's the reality of the situation. But having said all that, I hope it all sorts itself out. You know what I'm saying? And if ABS is the thing that has to come to fix it, then I guess I'm okay with that. It seems like it shouldn't be that much longer, Nick, for ABS to at least be a challenge opportunity. I don't think it'll be a full-fledged ABS system in the big leagues for at least a considerable amount of time. Now, what's considerable? I don't know, at least a couple years. But I wouldn't be shocked if they implemented the challenge kind of situation, or you tap the head to challenge next year. It seems realistic. Your guess.
They just came out, and at AAA they were doing half and half, and they have completely eliminated the full. So they're only doing the challenge system. So that seems to be hint. We're only going to consider using the challenge system. So I don't know if if it's possible to get it next year. I've seen some people push back on that. But it's coming at some point, and the sooner it can come. I personally would just rather them go all the way instead of a half measure, but the challenge system will help. I've seen some people say, well, the challenge system is not going to help. It'll still help. As number one, it's going to just keep some accountability. If you keep getting your calls overturned, you're going to adjust, I would think, right?
Oh, you're right.
I mean,
yeah. They don't get any feedback. Like that's one fair thing to the umpires. Like, to exactly your point, if you see a pitch on Elly tonight, right, and it's just below the zone, and he challenges it, and it comes down, it's a ball. The umpire, to your point, is going to make that adjustment. Like, they will. Now, some might not make it as good as others, but you don't get that feedback right now, Nick.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything else that you want to add before we jump into Reds MILB?
No, but I need just a second if you can.
I got it. I got all the seconds in the world. Why? Because I've been late for supers all night long. Thank you to everybody that supered. Donnie Miller coming in with first super chat ever. Donnie, thank you for supporting our show. You can also put a message in there, Donnie. If I missed it, or you want to put a message, you feel free to put it in the chat. I'll do my best to find it. Ned Flanders, as always, coming in hot with $10 sub, or a $10 super. He said, Sims will be pitching tomorrow. Start pre-gaming at noon. How about just pregame at noon? Seems like a good idea. All right, Ricky. $5 super said, all this candy and we'll be all diabetic. I'm glad we kept Abbott in the rotation. Let's go Redlegs. Nate with a super said, DFA Barry Larkin and DFA Miami Valley Gaming. You don't like your lucky Buckeyes, Nate? Huh? You don't like the jokes that we have to hear on the broadcast every time the lucky Buckeye comes out about somebody dancing? I got no problem with that bit, by the way. I just kind of find it funny. RD711 says, we want candy. We want candy. Is that song? Like, what's that song?
Yeah.
We want
Aaron
candy.
Carter. Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Aaron Carter, rest in peace, huh?
Yeah, rest in peace.
What?
Yeah.
Long time ago? Like, is this isn't recent?
No, like 4 months ago, 3 months ago, something like that.
Oh, really?
Recently. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. R.I.P. This is like an
Sorry
R.I.P. Dude, this is like R.I.P.s everywhere.
Sorry to break it to you.
Jeez, like we got like a hitting streak going right now on this Chatterbox Reds of R.I.P.s. Just saying.
Tough stretch.
See, you're breaking into the chat, dude. You better be right on this.
I'm pretty sure I'm right on this.
I don't know pop culture. My wife's right. I you know what? I'm proud to not know. You know, like, should I know that Aaron Carter died? I mean, should I? I don't know. I'm already not.
Rick was not. It was 2022, so it was not actually that
4 months.
I said 4 months ago. Sorry, Aaron. You know, I think I remember seeing something a couple months ago. I think what it was is a couple months ago they like re-released some of his music or something, and that's why I'm thinking it was recent. They did something with him recently.
Gotcha.
That I remember something.
Fair enough.
Your wife wants you to guess your kids' ages.
Not good. Yeah, I don't like when she's in the chat. It's just not good. None
It's
of
tough,
it.
man.
Yeah,
It's a
it's hard on these streets, you know? It's hard on these streets. You know? I mean, I got no comment. Austin Hendricks, he still playing baseball?
Yes.
He is?
I got some good news. Some good news. All right, I think I'm good enough. I was hoping Louisville would go final here, but they aren't.
Are you trying to have me buy out time for a baseball game to finish?
Well, no, I had to put two other ones in. Louisville, actually, you know, the hitting stats will be final. All right, so Louisville, they lead 5-3 over Omaha. They're going to the bottom of the ninth. I got to kind of read. Noe Marte 0 for 4, struggling again. Hopefully he had like 6 hard hit balls, though, out of his 4 at-bats. I'm sure he did. I can't see that right now. Reese Hines was 0 for 3. Really nothing. Blake Dunn had a hit. That's about it. And the Yasver Zuleta, 2 perfect innings, 3 strikeouts. I like Yasver Zuleta. That is a guy that I think at some point is going to impact the Reds team. All right, but we do have a bunch of others that did go final. Poor Chattanooga, man. They gave up 3 runs in the 9th inning. They lose 6-4. Just a tough day, and really brutal outing from Rhett Lauder. 6 earned runs, give up 2 home runs. I watched the 2 home runs. They weren't super cheap. He's got a 7.15 ERA now through 8 starts at AA Chattanooga. His last couple times out, he couldn't put hitters away. He had like 6 0-2 counts and didn't get a single strikeout his last time out. Tonight, he did get strikeouts. He got 6 strikeouts, but he gave up a lot of hits and a lot of contact. So I think he's maybe caught a little bit in between. I mean, I'm not like worried or concerned about Lauder. Maybe we could talk about him more in a second. But I'm a little disappointed with kind of where he's at. I was kind of expecting him to kind of just instantly dominate. But one guy who is pitching really well is Andrew Moore. This was part of the return for Luis Castillo. He threw 2 more perfect innings. He's having a great year. I might like to see him get promoted up to AAA. He's a really good relief arm. Dominic Patelli 0 for 3 with a walk. Austin Hendrick, 2 hits. He's playing decent.
Hey.
He's probably about over 300 over the last month. I'll have to look up that later. I'll put that in the podcast tomorrow. But Ruben Ibarra, shout out to him. He hit his 5th home run of the season. Dayton, they lost 8-1 to West Michigan. Not a whole lot in this one. Cade Hunter was the Reds' A 5th-round pick from 2022. He had his first home run since April 27th, 2 for 3 with a walk. So, really good night from him. And then, unfortunately, Hector Rodriguez, the Midwest League leader in hits, had his 12-game hit streak snapped. Daytona, they just went final. They won 6-5 over, I'm going to butcher their name again. I butchered on the podcast, and I had like multiple people reach out to me. So, number one, people might think that I was mad about that. No, I was thrilled. People actually listened to this thing till the end. I was thrilled. Oh, here it is. It's Dunedin. Dunedin. I was saying Dundin. It's Dunedin. Or Dunedin. Dunedin. It's probably, you got to put it together. Dunedin. I'm never going to. That's like Montes. Man, that's brutal. But they won.
You'll get it.
Yeah, I'll get it at some point by the time the series is over. Sammy Staffer, he walked twice. That guy is getting on base a lot. Love what we're seeing. Yerlin Confidant, he hit a home run, his 5th of the year, stole a bag. And then Connor Burns, he also homered tonight. And then out in the Dominican Summer League, it was a wild day out there, Trace. A wild day. So the Reds lost to the Padres Gold, the DSL Rojas, the team we're tracking. They lost 19-7. But the regular old DSL Reds, they beat the DSL Padres Brown 19-2. So we own the Padres Brown. The Padres Gold own us. But nonetheless, Adolfo Sanchez 0 for 2 with a walk and 2 ribbies. And then we have action going on right now in the ACL. The ACL Reds trail the ACL Angels 3-0. Shang-In Lin, he is 1 for 1 with a walk on base twice.
Nice.
There you go. There's your Reds MILB, baby.
Wouldn't be a Reds MILB. Wouldn't be a Chatterbox Reds without the Shang-In Lin.
There's no player I've ever rooted for more than Shang-In Lin. Never. I don't know if I'll root for my own kid more than Shang-In Lin. I'm sorry, Charlie. I love you, but I need you, Shang-In Lin. I need it. I need it.
Did you see Sin Shu Chu at 40 whatever years old he is hit a bomb in the He's still playing. He's still playing. All time
favorite players.
I agree. All timer. Like just came over for a year and just was absolute nails. Absolute nails. That dude was a stud. Absolute stud. All right, let's do who, what, when, where, and maybe why. Let's do that.
All right, Reds taking on the Red Sox. It's a 4:10 start time tomorrow. Plan your afternoon accordingly. Frankie Montas up against Nick Pivetta. Nick Pivetta is in his 8th big league season, originally drafted by the Nationals, but made his MLB debut with the Phillies. Interesting career. He's been traded for both Jonathan Papelbon in one trade and our good old friend Heath Hemby. Heath Hembry in another trade. Pivetta, he had been probably a below-average pitcher for most of his career, probably known more as an innings eater up until last year. He took a really big step last year, 4.04 ERA in 142 innings. That was split between starter and reliever. Pivetta, he relies on 5 pitches, 4-seamer, sweeper, curveball, cutter, and slider. Fastball averages 94 miles per hour. 3 starts ago, Pivetta threw 7 innings of 1-hit ball against the Braves. However, his last 2 starts, 5.73 ERA, 15 hits in 11 innings pitched, including 2 home runs in his last start at Toronto. He's pitched really well against the Reds, though. Career 2.92 ERA in 7 games. 3 of those starts, he threw 2 perfect innings in relief with 4 strikeouts last season. He's only made 1 career start at Great American Ballpark. That was back in 2018 when he was with the Phillies. He had a wild stat line in that game. 6 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 2 home runs, but 12 strikeouts and just 2 walks. Eugenio Suarez and Mason Williams homered off him. And then active Reds are 4 for 19 against him. Espinal's 3 for 12. Candelario is 0 for 3. And then Benson and India are both 0 for 1. But Austin Wins just called up. I don't know if he'll be in the lineup tomorrow. He's 1 for 2 with a homer. My guy Austin Wins only has 13 career home runs, but he has a home run against tomorrow's starter. How about that? All right, and then Frankie Montas for the Reds. He's coming off 5 innings of 3-run ball against the Brewers. I thought he pitched much better than the final line. Sims did give up that 3-run bomb for 2 of the 3 runs to score. Montas has a career 2.19 ERA in 6 games, 4 starts against the Red Sox. However, the active Red Sox have hit him well, 8 for 20. It's an OPS over 1,000. It's mostly all Rafael Devers. He's 5 for 11 with 2 doubles. Duran is 1 for 4. Tyler O'Neill, 0 for 2. So, Trace, I mean, look, a chance to get a series win tomorrow, not have to worry about the rubber game. How about that?
Right back at it again, Nick. It feels like this has been a common theme for most of this season. As crazy as that sounds, a team that's below 500 seems to have won a significant amount of the game or the series that they've lost. It seems as if they've won game 1 of that series more times than not. And like I've said before, I think when you're playing at home, you kind of felt like the wheels were wobbling on the track a little bit, Nick. Finding a way to win tomorrow and have a nice, easy Sunday to enjoy baseball without having to feel like it's pins and needles to try to win a series, that would be fantastic. And anytime you're going for a sweep, it always feels good. So we shall find out tomorrow what the Reds can do. Before we get to the pillow, let me get to one more super here that we have on the board. Who else other than Michael Rolfe comes in with a 20 bomb, says the strike zone was insanely inconsistent tonight. Wild on both sides. It's not wrong. The guy struggled tonight. I'd be interested to see what his report card is. Speaking of report cards, I brought somebody in to share a little bit of message. Now, some are probably thinking to myself, "Oh, is this guy is he gonna be a regular? Or is he not gonna be a regular?" I don't know if he's gonna be a regular or not, but he does want to share some important news, and I said, why not? Go ahead. This guy is, he goes by Meet in the Chat. He just gave an unbelievable big league wink. I don't know if you've seen that or not. But without further ado, Michael Rolfe, also known as Meat.
Ladies and gentlemen, all good on the audio?
Oh, we're as clean as we've ever been.
I actually came in here with questions for you guys tonight.
No, that wasn't the plan. Now you need to at least share whatever you want to share. Of course, this is your personal life.
I mean,
but you wanted to share some information out there.
I think they're fun questions. Let's start with, why is it 95 degrees in June in this area? Just asking for a friend.
I think it has something to do with the atmosphere, Michael, and something to do with possibly the way in which, the ecosystem, and you'll have one side of the aisle that will argue that it's just the way that God intended it to be, and it's going to be hot. You'll have another side of the aisle that's probably going to say it's global warming, Michael. Pay attention. And then you're going to have some people that are like, it's just hot in Ohio, Michael. That's part of the deal.
Can I give you my answer?
I'd love to hear it. When I was
in grade school, we learned about the rainforests.
Rainforest? Yes.
Pretty simple. There were different levels. Mm-hmm. I don't know. There are different animals on different levels, and sometimes there's heat, and sometimes there's cool, and sometimes there's rain, sometimes there's not. I don't know. That's the only thing that makes logical sense to me. But let's go to the next question. Frankie Montas. Tell me about your thoughts on Frankie Montas the rest of the season.
I can't tell if this guy does a bit or if he's being dead serious, Nick.
That would felt like a serious question, but I kind of feel like it's a trap at the same time.
All right, what's this? First of all, Michael, you can't ask to come on the show to share something that's great news, great information, and then not share it. You got one more question in you, and I'm going to force you. I'm going to force you to share your information. One question. So what's the last question?
Well, Frankie Montas, give me your thoughts on him the rest of the season. Do you think he has a winning record, a losing record? And I know record does not matter.
Yeah. I think he's like a wheelbarrow with a flat tire on it. I think you have the wheelbarrow. Sometimes when you have that wheelbarrow, you're really upset because it's got a flat tire. You're like, this thing sucks. You know, you're trying to get it to somewhere. And then you realize that you're like, okay, if I didn't have this wheelbarrow with a flat tire, I'd have to carry all of this stuff by hand somewhere else. And you quickly realize that it's better to have the wheelbarrow than to have Luke Weaver. It's better to have the wheelbarrow than it is to have Luis Sessa. It's better to have the wheelbarrow than it is to have Kennedy. It's better to have the wheelbarrow than it is to have, I don't know. I'm running out of names, but you get my point. I don't think he's going to be unbelievable all year long. I don't think he's going to be like an ace or 20 wins and all of these things that maybe he was hyped up to be. But I think he's going to be a wheelbarrow with like a flat tire. Hopefully that answers your question.
Well, my wheelbarrow has 4 wheels, which I don't really understand. I can't really explain.
That doesn't surprise me, Michael.
It's called a gorilla cart, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I actually bought it when Harambe died. R.I.P. Harambe. So there's that.
I do not think Montes will end the season with a winning record. Just statistically, he's 3-5, so the chances of that are slim. I will say though, he has a 4.62 ERA. I would bet that he has a lower ERA at the end of the year than what he has now. I think he's going to have a run at some point of like 5 or 6 starts where he's really, really good. I think there'll probably still be a few clunkers here and there. But I think he's going to have one really, really good run. We saw him pitch. We saw him at times have some dominant starts. I think he's going to stack a few of those together at some point this year.
So, Nick, let me ask you this. Do you think he's going to have more quality starts the rest of the season than he has unquality starts?
I would say he doesn't, because I don't think David Bell's going to let him go 6 innings to get enough quality starts.
Fair. It's fair. Well, the good news for me is the only reason I'm on this tonight is because my son got out of Children's Hospital early. And I tried to send a link via Super Chat 5 different times. If anybody wants to give to if you want to give via Super Chat, great.
Can you DM it to me?
Children's Hospital, great too. Give.children'shospital Cincinnati Children. I'm sorry, let me back that up. Give.cincinnatichildrens.org. If you want to donate $1, if you want to donate nothing, that's fine. I donated earlier today. They've helped 2 of my kids immensely. I don't expect anybody to give, but based upon what I saw in the lobby today, they just need extra money to make sure that good caregivers continue to stay on with them. And I'm very grateful to that hospital. They've helped my family immensely. I'm sure they've helped some of your families, maybe not your direct family, but maybe an extended family member in some way, shape, or form. We are very lucky to have that hospital here very close to us. So I appreciate Nick and Trace letting me come on tonight to say that. I will not Irish exit tonight. If they want to ask me a question or two, I would be happy to field questions. I'll field questions from the chat. Whatever you guys want to do.
All right, I got one question for you. I'll let Nick ask you one question, and then we got to do pillows. We got to dunk basketballs. We got to go to bed. Why, Michael? Because the Reds play at 4:00 tomorrow. I don't know if you know that or not, but it's going to be an early wake-up call.
Allegedly, until a thunderstorm comes in and wrecks the afternoon.
See, now I have not looked at that, Michael.
Is that a possibility? Because that would honestly be great. I got a
really
birthday party.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael, you got me excited.
Go ahead.
Real selfish too, by the way, Nick. Real selfish. You know, I'm going to have to go down there and sit through the rain delay. You're cool with that?
Well, I mean, I am flying solo tomorrow, brother.
You're flying solo?
No, not solo. I got Craig, but you know.
Damn, Craig! Shots fired, bro.
Craig doesn't run any of the graphics. Me and you split the deal. When it's just me, I have
Craig
to run the
split the
whole
deal.
shebang.
Yeah, I think it's very nice
Saint
of Nick to
Craig.
say we split the deal. Does like 90% of the work.
So I don't know if this means anything, but my Apple Watch says 45% rain in 2 days. So it's pretty damn accurate, or darn accurate. Sorry.
That's okay. It's
Kid
not.
show.
It's well. It's 10:40. You know, it's getting close to
You
the
would
kid,
have said that
kid
at
show.
10:38.
Right. Would have been
We'd have
real
to
bad.
cut you
All
off.
right, Michael.
Good.
Michael. I got one question. All right. Now I don't know how long you want to take to do this, but you know, we do still need to do some things. But I'm going to give you the floor here. Could you explain to me what the free naked lady is back there on the left, please?
Well, I sent you guys that on Twitter.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second.
Oh no. How over under? How much do you think this costs? Hurry. Oh no, you're not on, Nick. Hold on. Sorry. Gone it. I hosed this. I messed this up. Hold on. There we go. I got you, Nick.
$575.
Okay, good. He doesn't have his headset on right now. I'm gonna go with he paid $400 for that. All right.
All wrong.
Damn.
You should have $1, Trace.
How much you pay for that?
I paid approximately $45 for that.
Oh man, good deal.
Oh, should have got
But-
$1.
Can I give you guys a great story and I'll let you go after this?
Absolutely, yeah, sure.
This painting,
Armstrong. Yeah.
so in 2015, I was getting married. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but my wife thought it was a good idea that I go on my bachelor party the week before our wedding in New Orleans on Bourbon Street. We literally rented a house on Bourbon Street, on the corner of Bourbon Street. I nearly died, but here I am. Came back from some establishments that will not be named with a friend of mine. I didn't do anything wrong, but my friend did. In fact, it delayed his wedding nearly a year. He and I both bought a painting. It was pouring down rain. This painting is an oil painting. It's the original. The guy that painted it now sells replicas of this for like $4,000 a piece. But he tried to buy the painting back from me because he wanted the original. The guy had an A-Team van, like literally it was bronze. It had the circular window on the side. It was insane. He was passed out in his van. We tried to move all of his paintings. They were hanging on the fence of the famous church down there on the cast iron fence. And he called the police. Police came. Like, dude, your paintings are in the rain, man. Like, they're getting drenched. We paid him, bought these paintings. My buddy and I, we thought, we're never going to get these paintings. No chance. He got his painting like 5 weeks later. I got mine like 7 weeks later. And so that will forever hang on that wall in remembrance of him making horrible decisions. So
Is this guy still a good friend?
He's a great friend. He's actually a very successful attorney.
Okay.
And somehow he married that girl that never mind.
I feel like we should stop. All right, Michael. Fantastic job as usual. We appreciate you. We got a pillow and a dunk to do, but as always, shout out to you and thank you for sharing the good news about children's as well as obviously your family. So we will catch up with you soon, I'm sure.
Tracy, you want to come over and patch that wall? It's easy, man. Yeah.
That one?
Yeah.
Nah.
I just patched my neighbor's ceiling the other day, so
tell you what,
I can do it.
you can pat Michael Roth. You can patch it. You can patch it. If the Reds season ends, that's when you can patch it. Till then, it stays.
Fair enough.
See how big it gets. All right,
Love you,
Michael.
y'all.
Take care, man. See you, buddy.
you guys
later.
Take care, brother.
All right, Nick.
That man has lived more in a week than most of us live in a lifetime.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a debriefing after this show about that painting. I was following the story and then I wasn't following it for a second and then I was following it again. And I think I got it, but I want to make sure after the show's over that I got it right. Could be wrong. Don't know. All right. Speaking of things to finish up on, you have something that you need to do to wrap the show up, and it's just poetic that you get to do it on a night in which they play the Red Sox, Nick.
That's true. That's true. Oh, no. Well, we're still doing it upside down. But you know what? We keep winning. We keep winning. You know what? You know what, Trace? I don't know if anyone else across the National League has Nick Cage pillows, but since May 24th, no one has brought out Nick Cage pillows more than me. So,
That's right.
Shout out to that.
Shout out to that. Shout out to the fact that I even exist. Sometimes I wonder, like, this show, how this stuff even happens. I don't know. I don't really know how the pillow. I'm not sure how the dunk ever even became a thing. I'm not sure about any of it.
Spring training.
Yeah.
Game 1. Right
Matt McClain, walk-off bomb, baby. I forgot all about that.
That was like a million years ago, but it was like only 15 months ago.
Yeah. Literally doing this show is like almost like living like a president, I think. I've not been a president before in this country, but it looks like you age about the same way. Like, you're like, that was a year and a half ago. It felt like ages ago. But here we are, trying to do our best. And
Don't read that.
Hawk Tua!
Oh, no.
Thank you, Blackmore, for being a member for 7 months. Hope you got what you wanted. I mean, if you're a member, a nut cutter, I got to be honest. I'm gonna live up to it.
You're just gonna encourage that now. Now that's gonna you just encouraged it.
Yeah. Listen,
it's gonna be our whole chat tomorrow, and you're not even gonna be here. I'm gonna have to sniff through that all through the chat tomorrow.
Well, I mean, that sounds like a personal problem, Nick. It sounds like a personal problem, not one in which I have to worry about. So, hey, that is what it is.
Good dunk, damn it.
That is it. And what's that mean? I got to hit the outro, which means I need to figure that out. And
I got you.
Nick's got to clear the graphic. That's what he needs to do. Look at that. Like, this is a big league operation. We got a big league operation going on. We got 2 basketballs down here. I might try to do something stupid. But just as always, I want to tell you, tomorrow I won't be here. I'm going to be at the game. Shout out to Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation. Very much loyal to the show. We thank them for that. Thank you to all our sponsors, DSC, Game Time, and most importantly, you guys that watch this show religiously, night in, night out. You guys deserve all the credit, and we appreciate you. Love you. Go Reds. Now, watch this dunk.